Hello YouTube, we are back with another video. So today we got a hell of a topic. You guys read the title, so you know what we're talking about. Anything you want to say before we start?
Greetings, Earthlings. Let's do it.
All right, let's get right to it.
Guided. We are not misguided. We do not need you to shepherd us.
How's it going?
Hello.
Would you call yourself a feminist?
I would.
Yes, an intersectional feminist.
When you hear the word feminism, what comes to mind? Marxism?
To me, feminism is fairness.
I think that it's unfortunately misguided.
Feminism is a flawed movement.
When you hear the phrase men's rights, what comes to mind?
Aggression.
Advocating for the human rights of man as a class.
I start laughing.
What do you hope to
Laughing.
Aggression.
Laughing and aggression. That's interesting. Now,
Very
if we would have
interesting.
said that about feminism,
Or we be sexist.
oh, and that's a problem.
That's what they say. It's interesting. Aggression. So feminism,
Power, peace,
strength, love, fairness,
fairness, right?
men's rights, aggression.
A joke.
Crazy.
A joke is what she says.
Facts.
get from the conversation today?
I would hope to get some insight and probably, if anything, agree on a lot more than disagreeing.
I actually hope to get a little bit more understanding of why some men think this way.
Do you think there's middle ground between men's rights activists and feminism?
We'll see.
She seemed very skeptical with that we'll see.
Hi, my name is Zach.
Awkward.
Hi, Zach.
And I am 24 years old.
This is Chris. I'm a PhD student at the University of Southern California, and I'm also a Title IX specialist who challenges discrimination against men on college campuses. And I'm 30 years old.
Hi, I'm Derek. I also go by Brendio. I'm a YouTuber, and I'm also known as an incel, which is an involuntarily celibate.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I am a writer, poet, and
Can I pause and just go through the dudes that they chose? Is very interesting. Typically, when you think masculine, that's not what I would think of, but that it actually might make this better.
teaching artist.
They know what they doing when they pick the people. They definitely know what they doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for the guy in the yellow jacket. I just feel like he gonna be an interesting character to say the
Right.
least. Yeah, I'm getting those type of vibes.
I currently work in the pet health industry, and I'm 30.
I'm 24.
Pet health. Do you work at Petco? That sounds just like she tried to be too fancy, and it's probably something like it's not there.
She's sweeping shit.
Yeah.
I'm a graduate student with a degree in health sciences, and I'm excited to be here today.
Can I get my men's rights activists in the left and my feminists on the right? You step forward if this statement is true for you. I believe men and women are different but equal.
I know as a woman that I don't have the same physical strengths. Men and women are built differently. I think whenever things are built differently, it's for a reason, right? But at the same time, the amount of limits that have been put on women historically, like the fact that not too long ago we were just allowed to like start voting. Even today, like the wage gap, just all types of stuff, like women just.
I like how they like mischaracter history. They never talk about the fact that women didn't want to vote because with the right to vote came responsibility, such as drafting in the war.
Right.
They act like men had it like it was peaches and creams when they were going on the front lines, getting blown to fucking bits and pieces. Like they never talk about that side of history.
Of course
you know?
not. It's irrelevant to their point.
Don't have a lot of rights that are just, it should have nothing to do with what gender we are to be able to be paid equally or just be treated with respect. So, yeah.
I do believe that, of course, there are biological differences between men and women. And of course, there should also be legal equality. Of course, I disagree with the idea that women face systemic discrimination. You just mentioned the wage gap, which has been debunked so many times.
I've studied evolutionary biology quite a bit. And men and women are very different from not just a physical, the bone structure, the neurological department as well as the...
I'm triggered. I'm triggered. Why do they have to have him representing the fellas?
I don't know, but let's listen, because bro seems like he's coming with like some solid information.
That's fair. He just looked like a predator, I'm just saying.
Bro, that's wild. Hey, they got
I would not
too.
want... Bro, if somebody that looks like that, I wouldn't want them around my nieces and nephews. I'm just saying. Tell me he don't look weird to you. Okay.
Bro, don't judge a book by its cover. Let's see what he has to say first.
That's fair.
Then
That's
we
fair. That's
can
fair.
establish that.
Still look weird.
chemical balances. And also, I don't believe that men and women are equal under the law either, or they should be, rather. Children are not.
No. He called us, he labeled himself an incel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what an incel is?
Nah.
Involuntarily celibate.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. When
which means that he's not good with women.
He's involuntarily celibate.
Yeah. So, like, if he had the choice, he would be out here having sex. He would be smashing. Involuntary. So women don't want him.
It's not that hard. It's actually
the average person.
really
it is.
Easy.
Did you know statistically 1 out of 3 men is a virgin or hasn't had sex in a year?
That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of men nowadays are not having sex or good relationships with women. The top 10% of men, 5 to 10, depending on what study,
right?
They're having sex with all the women.
Wow,
Facts.
I've heard that. I've seen that. Yeah.
Equal under the law, and it's not because we hate children; it's because we love them and we want to protect them.
So if you believe we're not equal, then that you're inferring that one would be greater than the other.
Well, so let me
so that's
chime in with my perspective.
Yeah.
As far as not being equal, I don't think that necessarily means inferior or superior. When it comes to certain things like roles like childbearing, a woman is going to be far more productive and a lot more nurturing than, say, a man. And when it comes to doing a lot more of the heavy lifting and the work, a man is probably going to be more suited for that role. And I don't think that makes them any better or worse. We are just built, created, and born different.
Perfectly said.
Perfect. Couldn't have said any better.
I would also like to elaborate. I am not saying that they are worse overall or better overall.
They complement
like
each other.
Like he said, they do.
They complement each other beautifully.
They work very well together.
We need each other for...
Look how the women are dismissing the logic. Do you see the look on their faces?
That's typical. That's typical.
They're speaking facts,
right?
Not in a derogatory way.
Right.
They're being direct, they're being honest, and they're being generous.
And they're articulating well.
And they're just like, man, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Working in that
for offspring. I mean, that's part of the beauty of it, and I think trying to equalize them and make them the same and, transition and all that, I don't believe is going to be the most conducive when it comes to raising children, but also just for overall well-being.
I want to note that you brought up children being unequal to adults. I just hope you weren't comparing women to children.
I mean, it was technically a comparison of women and children.
I don't need you to protect me. I just need you not to harm me.
No, stop it. Yes, you do. And when the time comes and you want to be protected, you're going to probably want a man.
Do they not understand what an analogy is?
No, probably not. They felt categorized. As a woman, I'm a child, and it's not the same. That's not where he was going.
Not at all. He just gave you a simple analogy. It's not comparing you to
She didn't
children.
like it.
Of course she didn't.
He needs to change. Immediately.
I can protect myself.
Or else.
Yeah.
I need a safe space.
I'm very capable of...
That's a whole nother blog, but we should talk about, do men have a safe space? And are women still creating safe spaces for men? Even the strongest man needs a safe space, and that's a lot of women's power. But that's a whole nother, that's, man.
Doing what I need to do. Okay?
Okay, sure.
100%.
I am a.
He should have been like, who the hell you think you talking to? Who the hell you think you talking to? Last time I checked, I wasn't trying to protect your dusty ass anyway. That's what he should have said to her.
An incel or an incel advocate, I suppose. I don't hate women at all. I think we're different, and they have aspects that are superior to men as well. It's just very contextual on the subject.
Toxic masculinity,
oh boy,
is real.
You know, if they all didn't walk that way, I'd be surprised.
I think that toxic masculinity is definitely a real thing. It's kind of just the idea of what masculinity should be.
Can I have a definition?
So, by proxy, if toxic masculinity is a real thing, then that means toxic femininity is a real
scale.
thing. Let's talk about it.
Yin to the yang.
I'm just saying, let's talk about it. They only talk about it one way. No, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity.
But it goes wrong a lot of the times, saying that violence, sex, power, being a controlling person makes you a man.
I see it in very unfortunate places, like when the young men or boys in my family, even from like toddler age, are told, you shouldn't be crying, boys don't cry. And what that turns into, I see it when I'm in a bookstore and a guy who tries to get my number says, why y'all always gotta act like that? And he sincerely had this like cracking voice, like he was hurt, but it was an entitlement. And that's toxic masculinity. It's saying,
bro, what? Hold up. That's a lot to dissect. So let's go back to the boy crying thing. It's all right for a little boy to cry. Not all the time, though. He has to have some kind of structure that says you got to be strong in this world because you are a man. And just like what she was about to say about his voice cracking, that just debunks her other point. Because if you don't raise a strong little boy to be a strong man, then he's going to be perceived as a weak man to women like you.
Agreed. And it's very interesting how, like, these same women who purport this argument that men need to be more vulnerable, men need to be more sensitive, do they know a weak man is a very dangerous man? An emotional man is a dangerous man. The men out here and robbing people, killing people. The men, if you bump them and they ready to fucking take your life, those are hyper emotional men. An emotional man is a dangerous man. They don't understand that. Right. Stoicism is a wonderful thing. Being able to control your emotions is a wonderful thing. And it's also about what you're crying over. If you bump your toe when you're out here crying, I don't care what any woman says. They gonna look at their man and be like, listen, them insides gonna dry you real quick. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, and it's true. I mean, now let's say you have a parent and they passed away or something like that. That's fair. That's fair. But it's the ability to be stoic and to think issues through and find a solution.
You have to have emotional intelligence.
I would say emotional control, because they beat the term emotional intelligence over the head. I don't like to say that. I would say emotional control.
I say
or discernment.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, we find a middle ground.
Right, you know.
There you go.
like, you don't realize how your behavior is harmful.
What does toxic masculinity mean? Is it character traits? Is it upbringing?
The suppression of feeling for a lot of men, because throughout childhood they're told man up. So because of that, there's a lot of repression. Repression then.
If toxic masculinity is the suppression of feelings,
Right.
And toxic femininity is the expression of feeling.
You know what? I mean, it makes sense to me.
Going by her logic.
And another thing is, as a woman, how can you describe what a man goes through and how he feels? As a man, I understand childbirth, but I would never biologically be able to do that.
Fair. Or period.
Period, yeah.
Like if they would be 100% valid. Like you as a man would never understand what it's like to have a period, and that would be a fair argument.
And to be a woman.
That's fair. But they would never understand what it's like to be a man.
You can't.
100%.
Is usually channeled into anger for some people because they not always know how to express because they were told not to express.
So upbringing and
That's part of
environment.
it,
Okay.
yes.
But not something that's inherently a part of men. Okay.
No.
I think that, when you're showing your emotions, especially to random people, random women in some cases, they will view you as weak. I was raised by a single mother. I love her. She's my mom. I love her. But I could have used being told to act like a man. I think back, there were some cases where I was too emotional, and that negatively affected how I
like that they brought him on.
Why?
Because you can see the results of being too soft of a parent.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Because
and not having a man in the house, because we have a role that's essential.
He cooking. I'm giving
it's needed.
Well,
let me stop, man.
No, seriously. Even sometimes, the messenger is very important because sometimes the recipient will not receive the message if it's the wrong messenger. He is now somebody that they're going to respect enough to listen to, even if what he's saying is valid.
Right.
Like, they already lost all respect for him. The way she challenged him at the very beginning, that a shit test, what women shit test dudes.
Right.
That was a major shit test, and he failed. He should have put her in her fucking place right then and there. That was blatant disrespect. But he didn't, and all the rest of the women lost respect for him.
Stop. He wasn't trying to exorbit his toxic and masculinity. Continue.
I would have just had to been a toxic motherfucker right there.
What happened to me. And
May I ask a question?
Sure.
What is your definition of weak as a man?
Not being as forward as you could be, not being as honest, or trying to be not as emotional as you don't need to be. You don't have to cry over a cut. I know, sometimes cuts hurt a lot, but sometimes it's necessary to be strong for the benefit of not just yourself, but for the people around you. It's fine to act emotional in certain cases, but I don't think it's fine to act that way with a woman.
That's your spirit animal, bro. You just said that.
Hold on, pause. Give me a pause. This is the prime example, literally, of a great message, but it will not be received because the deliverer is not the right person.
Gotcha.
Nope, they're not receiving anything he's saying.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Look at their faces. They're like, shut up talking.
Maybe, you have a really good friend and he sees you cry, he's your best friend and you're crying about something really personal. I think that's fine.
I feel like you're conflating two different situations because you started off with saying,
Bitch, and I feel like you shouldn't be talking while I'm talking. God damn. He couldn't even finish his point.
Come on now, sir. This is not Fresh and Fit.
a random person or even women. So it feels like, okay, this is a woman that you don't have a bond with or any type of relationship with. And then
shout out to F and F.
You mentioned, or in front of your best friend, that's okay to cry. Well, that woman could be your best friend. That, so.
I don't think you're friends with a woman, so.
Because you don't see us as equal.
No! Oh my God. Bro, I'm about to. How do you go from I don't think men and women can be friends to you don't see us as equal? As if it's that simple. Be careful, with that. Why we, you don't want to be true.
Yeah.
as you said before.
I don't think showing emotions is a sign of weakness. I actually think it's a sign of strength. Men do live shorter lives, and that's because of a repression of emotions, and that's due to...
Bro,
They should do a study. I swear men live shorter lives because, one, we work more dangerous jobs on average, longer hours, etc. Right. And two, I think the stress of being around a nagging ass woman kills you slowly. They should do a study. Like the men of the past, all the shit they had to endure. Thinking about the complaining, the nagging. They're going to do a study because it's projected that more women and men are going to be single in the future. I predict men start living longer. Single men that work hard and grind, that's out here living life.
Many things that patriarchy has instilled.
Of emotions.
It has been shown that a person's well-being, their lifespan is shortened when they are not able to express their emotions. In addition, when they don't have physical touch or when they don't have a partner to keep them company. We are human beings here. We need to talk to each other. And if you think that our health isn't affected when you're not able to express that you are sad or upset, you're wrong.
And that's where a lot of women have it wrong. Men can definitely men can express themselves, but a lot of times they need to talk about their problems and issues to another man. Like, we need to promote more brotherhood, camaraderie amongst men. You know, like a man that can understand your plights, the things you go through, your day-to-day struggles. A man will understand that.
Right.
And we have gone away from promoting men having like that brotherhood and like tight-knit relationships with one another. That's what we need to promote more.
Sympathy, empathy between men and women. Talking to your bro and talking to, your lady. There's certain sides that she can see, but there's certain stuff that you have to lock away.
Facts.
Because eventually it might be used and weaponized against you.
Ammunition against you. 100%.
I think that men's rights activists are only men's rights activists as a response to women expressing that they want more equality. I don't think they focus on actual men's rights issues, and rather it's just an attack on women and feminism.
What? I bet she can't articulate one point that the men's rights activists talk about that's an attack on women. It's crazy how in society
it's psychological.
Men cannot even talk about our issues, struggles, plights, or anything. Didn't they say they want us to open up more? But when we do, we get shit like that.
Shut down.
Women have more advantages than men.
Facts. 2023.
I can speak from a hiring standpoint when it comes to things like affirmative action, and there are certain roles that traditionally men and women have been able to serve in, and now women can basically do all of those things, right? Because we've had such a strong advocacy for equal representation in the workplace. Whereas, for example, you'll never find a man as a midwife nurse, and I don't think it's appropriate. That's why there are those differences.
Women in like the most important parts of society have an advantage. There's a lot of positions that men simply aren't getting hired at anymore because of the fact that they're a man. And it's not just in the workforce, it's also, I would say, it's a lot easier for a woman to find a relationship, even if she, says it's finding the right guy is so hard. It really isn't. But sometimes for a lot of guys, finding a girl at all is hard.
If I have to consider what I wear before stepping out the house, because I don't want to draw some type of attention, I don't know how many other men have to consider, is this outfit going to be deemed safe for me? Any situation that I have experienced where I physically felt endangered. Simply.
I'm going to pause that for a little bit. I just want to...
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I just let you breathe.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to touch a little bit and say it's yes and no. If I am in an all black ghetto, neighborhood, and I'm wearing a Trump 2024 shirt and I'm doing all this, why would I bring that attention and say, I'm not a Republican? You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you're deliberately doing stuff. I'm not saying that the reactions or the responses that you might get are right, but it's part of the reality.
Hold on. You have to be mindful of how you present yourself to the world, period, man or woman, right?
Facts.
If you go to a job interview and you got your pants sagging down to your knees with a baggy white tee with a gold chain, you gonna go into the interview and the employer is gonna be like, yeah, we probably don't want a person that conducts themselves like that because of your image. Your image counts. How you present yourself to the world counts. But the fact that she really believes that, just because it's exclusive to women that you're going to be treated a certain type of way when you walk out the door a certain type of way, it's just utterly false. It's just not reality. But the fact that she can't even see that, and it's like a safety thing, statistically, men are at a higher risk of being the recipients of violence. Period.
Right.
That's a fact. So it's like sometimes we have these irrational fears.
Right.
And I think that's exactly what that is. It's like, you ever see people, they've been told their whole life that they're a victim, so they believe they're a victim.
Right. Victim mentality.
100%. If you've been told your whole life, oh my God, the boogeyman's out to get me, you believe
I'm
that.
gonna think he around the corner.
Nobody's fucking out to get you. Don't nobody want your dusty ass. I'm just saying. But anyway, go ahead. You was gonna say something?
Man, now you covered it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to give my number out. It's part of that entitlement for men. You're not entitled a conversation with me. You're not entitled to my number.
That aside,
you're not entitled to a conversation. You're not entitled to my number. But statistically speaking, you're not gonna come up and talk to me. And I'm weak if I sit in the corner and I don't approach you. Now it's different if I'm pressing you, becoming harassment. We don't support that in no way. But the fact that I'm gonna just come up and be somewhat assertive, I have to, unless I'm not deemed a man.
And it's women like this is the reason why a lot of men nowadays don't approach women, and then complain that men don't approach women. It's like, pick one. Either you want to be approached or not.
Right.
Now, get me. Granted, I understand completely that you have some guys out here that do too much. I can admit that. But I can also admit that a lot of women out here are overly sensitive, and they think that every time a guy looks at them, it's a goddamn attack.
That's a good angle. Some of them are overly confident.
With the women? Overly arrogant.
Yeah.
They think, bro, I'm gonna have to tell the story. I was at the gym recently, and I was asking a female about a machine, and she looked at me like I had a bug on my face. I'm like, bitch, I don't want you. I'm literally like, I want the machine, not you. But she was so arrogant, like in her mind, she thought that I was talking about, like, I wanted her. Nobody wanted you. It's crazy, man.
The machine wanted her.
Right. Not me.
it's like, are you gonna make one example of the entitlement of men when it comes to asking for your number be the all-encompassing thing that all men have a problem when it comes to approaching women?
Well, firstly, it's not just an example. It's not necessarily all men. I don't dislike men. I love sports, I play video games. I have bros, I hang out with dudes. We just want men to realize that if you have friends that are having locker room talk, as a man, as an ally, please say something to your friends.
Do you think repressing that is really the solution here, though? If it's in a healthy male space...
There's nothing
I don't think
healthy
that's
about
healthy.
that.
I think it's
No, I'm
toxic
not-
in itself.
I mean, if you're making jokes and you're doing all of that...
Jokes that are harmful jokes are not healthy because they just lead to people normalizing things.
Some of the worst jokes that I've heard that are like funny are from females.
100%. Let me just say this. So, I've been in the medical field now for over 10 years. And everybody knows the medical field is composed of predominantly women. I can tell you, the shit that women say when men are not around is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So it's interesting to hear her say this, but I know how women talk behind closed doors.
Or even if you just have female friends, sisters, cousins. You know the truth.
Facts.
People always say, oh, it's just a joke, but when someone else hears it, they don't realize how that resonates, and again, how that turns into violence. Like, this is not an isolated situation. I'm only thinking of 3 off the top of my head, because if I think of too many, I'm gonna spiral
So
right now.
what's the alternative? Men shouldn't talk about these things.
No, I think men
one's
can
ever
have a
said
healthy
that.
dialogue. I don't think men have to be toxic in order to have a conversation. I know plenty of men that are able to have conversations about healthy, productive things, just like women.
Bro,
Think
you see
about the
bro's
arrogance.
face?
Who are you to determine what's healthy and not healthy pertaining to a man's dialogue?
She's a specialist in men.
Fuck all that. Who are you to tell us what's healthy and unhealthy?
An inside a woman.
That's toxic femininity right there.
I think you're onto something.
I might be on to something.
Women are.
Well, it's not obviously something that I have personal experience with, but only 1% of all people.
I hate to keep stopping it, but no, it's interesting how like we genuinely cannot have a space that they don't want to have a part of. That women feel the need to have to dictate what we do and where we do it. And no, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
No.
You gotta look at stuff as the animal kingdom. It doesn't happen there. It's not gonna happen within humanity. It's just not. Now you might have some give and take, but a majority of men, they ain't going for it.
I got you, Tarzan.
On the death row are women in this country. So when women and men commit identical crimes, women are much more likely to, for example, escape the death penalty. And that's just plain sex-based discrimination.
That I agree on.
That's true. Look, I'm thinking about basic needs, like around the globe, the women who don't even have like proper like sanitary like products.
I mean, I have to agree. Just small things like a tax on a box of tampons. Do you think I choose to do this monthly? No, trust me. So why should I have to pay taxes when this is a medical necessity?
We're just like dismissed. A lot of our symptoms, a lot of the things we report, especially women of color, but women across the board, are just treated a lot less equally.
You know what the irony in that statement? The moment they even brought up the phrase men's rights, she laughed. And now she want to talk about something being dismissed.
Yeah.
I'd say that I'm an advocate for what I believe the role that men play in society. I believe that their views should be expressed openly, that they should be given a platform to do so, and I believed in men unapologetically and unashamedly being men as we were created.
I think in my heart that there are things that men are entitled to. I am all about human rights, and I do consider the rights of every human, but every time I hear of a men's rights activist, I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning, and it just boils my blood because it's a setback for all of us.
I feel that the other side does not understand my values.
Everybody about to go for it. We agree!
I think a lot of times when a movement is created, the other side thinks that they're being attacked or think that it's some like attempt at erasure. That's not what feminism is about at all. What do you need a whole men's rights activism movement for? I'm sincerely confused.
Well, I mean, like, I will advocate for positive masculinity and what men should represent and healthy outlets for men. Like, I still think the Boy Scouts should be exclusively the Boy Scouts, for example, one of those things. Where I would like to think that we could get some common ground is when it comes to the clear biases that are in the court system, especially in the marriage and family court system, right? And right there is what I would advocate for when it comes to men's rights.
The things that stand valid, like that I'm hearing from y'all that are like valid to me, come from a place of like, I'm treated like unfairly by the system, versus a lot of the things women are saying. It's also America and the system as well, but a lot of it is like harm from men.
How and where?
How and where what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not gonna talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club, a boy touched me, I said no, he kept touching me, it got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my—
You notice how he's talking about societal, and she brought it straight to
she's making it personal.
He's talking about what issues are you talking about from a societal standpoint, and she went straight to personal. She's like, oh, you're talking about me? Okay, I'll give it. You know what's interesting about that? The moment a man would have been like, well, I experienced this by a woman.
Immediately.
Who hurt you? How many times have we heard that? Who hurt you?
No one cares.
It's like it's never got to be a tit for tat with them.
Mm.
It's never like a man can sit down and articulate his plight and they're receptive to it. You never get that. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
My husband was not too far away and he said, sorry, bro, never said sorry to me. That's why, and that's off the top of my head. This is why I get upset, because I'm like, I'm here to talk about like how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact that women actually have experience.
Did he dismiss or he asked for clarification? He asked a question. Am I tripping?
Nah, you dead on.
He's like, no, tell me.
Right.
Like,
too much
give me an example.
Logic.
100%. That's how you have dialogue. If somebody asks you a question, that means they're actually interested in the answer. Right. And she took it
she diverted.
Not just that, she took it as an insult.
Right.
Yeah. She was like, oh, I shouldn't have to explain myself. Come on, man. It's like talking to a child.
That's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off. Because how dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face, is
he didn't say that.
Not valid.
I didn't say they were invalid. I said.
And he just said that he
facts.
Said
hold on, hold on. Oh, excuse. Let's let him see. Yeah. Let's see what he's gonna say.
How and why? I'm trying to understand.
How and why? Because it happened.
That's what I said.
Bro's right on. Yeah.
He asked the question to understand her position and perspective, and him asking the question was an insult to her.
It happened many times. It happened yesterday. It happened the day before.
Okay, I think some of the things that you guys are touching on, such as the court system and gender roles, are a subject of patriarchy, and that's part of what women are trying to dismantle, is those traditional gender roles.
Are there any feminist organizations that have done anything, for example, to challenge bias against men and fathers in the family court system?
Absolutely.
Can you please give me a list of feminist advocacy organizations that have engaged in any meaningful advocacy to address those issues? Because there are actually none.
Okay, I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come with.
I know that you came with your little research or whatever. Damn. Just dismissed them. Don't care.
Hold on. It's diminish your language.
Very. The whole thing was diminishing and dismissive.
It's like, you ever hear somebody say, you know, like you, for instance.
Right.
Say you say, I'm in a real estate. And they respond, oh, yeah. Oh, so you doing work on that little property.
Right. Exactly. I see got a little business.
Like feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again, I
organization.
didn't come with a list, my dude.
There are no such organizations.
Again.
In what ways are men's rights at risk?
I think there has.
You notice how, like, whenever you talk to a feminist, they typically are super fucking manly. My dude, bruh. It's like, man, listen.
See, hold up. Women don't understand. Their power isn't being soft. It's so much power.
You better be careful with that. You talking too logical.
Never mind.
Been significant progress over the last decade or so, especially in the legal field, but I think there are still significant disparities that need to be addressed, such as poor health conditions, bias against men in the criminal justice system, bias against men in family courts, and bias against men in the educational system, especially in colleges.
Men and women should be allies.
Men,
agree
unfortunately,
on
many
that.
of them don't want to even have this open dialogue that we're sharing right now. We need men to help be allies, to help speak to other men.
It strikes me.
Oh boy.
Hold on.
If you would listen.
It's so, how can you say that in one breath, but in the next breath, the moment a man asks a question, you get offended and you feel attacked. And then because you feel attacked,
It's toxic.
you attack in response to you feeling attacked, even though he never attacked. He just asked the question.
No, but her attacking is just her expressing herself.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Like the way you phrase this, you almost want men to say certain things that you want them to say, as opposed to maybe actually listening to what they're saying.
What certain things would I want to
Just
hear?
kind of like men being allies, men talking to other men, etc. I'm completely okay with that, but I'm not going to repeat like feminist talking points to other men.
We all believe different things. We may be under the label of men's rights activists, but for example, I'm probably the most traditionalist person here. I think we should be allies, but maybe us being allies in a patriarchy wouldn't be so bad. You know, us going back to the past wouldn't be.
I'm gonna be honest. Every time he talk, I'm like, hey, hold on. With the other two guys, we take 2 steps forward, then he start talking, it's 3 steps back.
Just hear the man out.
Oh, I heard him out. He fucked it up.
He's trying.
He remind me like you know when you see those black, like me, you and I, we
Right.
professionals, right?
Yep.
You know when you see a black dude out there doing
no.
some nigga shit, and we be like, man, you fucking up for the rest of us. That's what I feel, man.
In the days,
I'm like,
dudes.
man, you fucking up for the rest of us, goddamn it.
So bad. It would probably be a lot happier if we were, getting married and staying married and having kids and, going to church and all that, la-di-da-di-da.
Well, speaking of the three of you, I feel like you're each coming from different perspectives. So it's hard to,
La-di-da-di-da.
Get your cousin, man.
I'm darker than you. He'll be your cousin before he be mine.
Again, just like our perspectives, it's hard to generalize. So to me, I feel like there are certain things that, even though we're not fully agreeing on it, things may get lost in translation, our verbiage may not be 100% correct, that we could at least agree on.
Can I ask one question? What would you envision would be the ideal man with the end goal of feminism as far as educating men or working to dismantle whatever patriarchy is? Like, what does that man look like?
It starts with childhood. We have to teach children as well as girls, because we're also taught, because of toxic masculinity, what a man should be as well.
I think that we just need to hold men accountable. In order to kind of make progress, we need help from people that will listen. Because let's be real, when we express our concerns, a lot of men refuse to listen, but they would be more likely to listen to another man.
Do you also feel like you have an ethical obligation to challenge other women or other feminists when, for example, they deny that men face discrimination?
When it comes to things like, men can't be abused. I've had this conversation with another woman, and it's the idea that just because a man may be physically stronger than us, does that mean they cannot be abused?
We finally agree on something.
Did you know that there's mental and emotional abuse? And women
Listen. We not gonna. She
Okay,
finally said something that we agree with.
All right.
Let's give it to her.
Okay. There you go. I was about to go into a tangent.
And because of that, again, fairness, women need to be held accountable as well. I want to understand their viewpoint. As a woman and a woman of color, I know how it feels to be disenfranchised. So I want to understand why they feel the need to have a men's rights movement.
I feel empathy for the other side.
I don't think there's ever a time in my life where a person says they're hurting and I don't at least try to listen or understand. My only thing is that
Is there even anything to say about
Bro.
that, bro? There's nothing to say. That's just bullshit.
That's why we looked at each other like that. We thought the same thing.
I was like, come on, man. You don't get this crock of shit out of here.
Oh,
I want
man.
the same in return. So when I'm genuinely saying I'm hurting or I've been through something, and it's not just a personal experience because I actively do this work and surround myself with women saying I've been.
So if me, she just said, there's not a time if somebody says they're hurting, I don't listen. But you laugh when men say we need rights.
Right.
That's bigger than just hurting. We're talking about rights.
Right.
We're talking about an entire group that clearly feels like they have a plight that needs to be discussed,
Right.
that needs to be talked about on a global level. And you laughed at it.
Nah, but she cares. She wants empathy for all. She gonna listen. That snicker.
How's she sneaker?
Hurt by a man before. I get that you have stories, but I mean, that's actually my question. I haven't heard y'all stories. Like, I've sat up here and said I have 3 on the top of my head. I have about 30 plus probably. And I haven't heard y'all say, this is what happened to me.
I don't think that I'll ever invalidate a
I don't think that you allowed that window because you were talking about yourself.
But it's interesting because a lot of times, one, men rarely get the opportunity to be like, hey, no, this is what I've experienced individually. There's only in recent times are men really talking about their personal experiences. And that's only because it's like it's been getting so bad. Like between like the court systems, male suicides, things of that nature. It's just now that we're creating platforms where men can actually talk about it.
Right.
You know, and it's still getting shut down. But it's interesting, like we don't have a proclivity to like first respond by saying, I've been through this.
Oh no.
Typically we say men are experiencing this. We talk about the group. We can look at the situation outside of ourselves. Go ahead.
Right. Or you've been beat down so much that you finally at a place where you possibly feel vulnerable. But it's a balance between, am I being a man or am I being too weak? Vulnerability and weakness is a thin line, especially when talk to the other sex.
It's a thin line. No. You remember that song?
Again. Never.
Between love and hate. What? No?
No. Hell no. Hell no.
I need new friends.
Hey.
woman's feelings when she says, hey, I've been abused or whatnot. I don't think any of us here are rightfully saying that. But I think what's dangerous is when emotional testimony that may not always be what it is gets, creates bias, right?
Okay, I feel empathy for women being lost, being misguided. Look,
he's fucking it up.
No. You gotta hear him out, and I'm only say that because. Oh God. Let's just hear him out.
I think
because they're dismissing him so much that if we dismiss him, it's just not helping.
just because he's a man doesn't mean he's worth listening to. I'm with them on that. Listen, I'm not just because he's a man don't mean we all on the same. It's not about teams. That motherfucker right there does not speak for me.
I wanted him to finish his point so then we can dissect it.
So we can laugh at him afterwards. Okay.
Dissect, laugh, whatever.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. No, you're right. You're right. We should hear him out, but I think we've almost been them like what over 15 plus minutes in. And one, we've clearly seen that he does not have the ability to articulate his point. He does not garner respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I mean that's a bigger part of it.
100%.
Like he could have wrote a script, handed it to you or me, and it would have been way better.
100%.
He could have said the shit verbatim.
Right.
But our delivery and our execution would have been way different.
100%. Like he just makes us look bad. Seriously, he's on a huge platform representing men. They knew what they did by
They did it on
him.
purpose.
They did it on purpose.
It's comic relief.
I don't know. You can go.
Do you have any bit of empathy for anything we said up here?
Yes, I really do feel empathy for.
Why was that so hard to say? Like for the stuff that we said, do you have any bit of?
They bitching him. She said, "What on sleep? What on
empathy, mother?
Hurry up!" Or maybe that nigga. Is that too far?
Yeah, it's too far. He ain't even.
Okay, fair enough. My bad. Wiggle! No, just playing.
Empathy for the stories I said up here?
Yeah,
I just want to know.
I do.
Like, I'm not even trying to be hostile. I just genuinely want to know.
Yeah, I just think.
I'm not even trying to be hostile. Baby girl, you doing that all well.
If you gotta say you're not trying to be it, you're probably being it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be racist, but can you hop up on that noose? I'm not trying to be aggressive.
I'm not trying to be sexist, but
that like a lot of the problems that have happened in your life are because.
But get your ass in that kitchen.
and cook daddy a sandwich. That's what he wanted.
Cook him a sandwich?
Yeah.
What we doing? Grilled cheese? He's cooking it?
Yeah, bro. It's a chicken sandwich. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Got you.
Okay.
Nah, I want natural, healthy, organic chicken. I want you to put it in the skillet. I want brioche buns.
Mm-hmm.
And some sweet baby rays on top. Yep.
Sweet baby, gotta have that.
I have to. Period.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You said period.
Yeah. You know, I'm getting with them. Equality.
Society is not patriarchal. It's not traditional. It's we're gone. We're lost. We're in a fallen state, right?
There is a change of guard, not necessarily a change of guard, but things.
We are, but just hearing him say it. Are you with? Come on, man.
Point. You missed the point. You missed the point.
Listen,
what he said, and I'm not backing him, but what he said was valid. It was all facts. Within that 10-second segment.
I really hope we get some views on this one.
Oh yeah.
And I would love.
Here we go.
Please comment and tell me who you agree with on this one. I know y'all gotta be feeling me.
I'm talking about the 10 seconds. I ain't talking about all the other
They
shit.
gotta be feeling me though, but you
I'm
can't even be
about-
receptive to it because it's him.
Whatever. Go ahead.
I'm with you.
Right.
He's been saying facts.
Yeah. Some.
Yeah. Actually, most of it.
He's had valid points. Like we said before, it's just he's just not gonna get the, you know.
His delivery, his cadence, the way he articulates himself. He needs to have a little bit more bass in his voice. He's getting bitched around through the whole conversation.
He didn't have a dad. He said that from the fucking jump.
You blaming the women?
You ain't gonna get me. Fuck you.
Things are evolving, things are changing. And I feel like a lot of men speak from a viewpoint almost of fear. A lot of men are having a hard time grasping that. And
okay. I just gotta say it because I hear a lot of women say this whole fear thing. It's really, I don't think women truly understand what men really are capable of, because they would truly understand that it is very difficult to fear a woman. You know? It's the reason why, like, when men deal with each other, we are typically overtly respectful. because we always know that it's that underlying threat of violence, that men are willing to fight to the death and kill one another, which is why we are so respectful. We know that. The carnage that we are capable of is very difficult to like fear a woman. So they throw around words like fear, and I'm like, no, it's not the right word. We don't fear you guys.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fear against women, right? Men fear not being successful,
Exactly.
not being a provider, not living up to expectations.
100. Couldn't have said it better.
That's our fear. That's scary to us. It's
Yes.
not like, oh, she's gonna hit me or she's gonna. It's like, can I not be the greatest form of myself possible before I leave this earth?
100%.
That's fear.
But they think we like fear where they are, fear their progress,
No,
and fear
for us,
them.
It's fear of failure,
100%.
not of a female.
It's fear lack thereof within ourselves.
Right.
And feeling comfortable with it.
I do feel empathy for your personal experience, but I cannot sympathize with your ideological position because that ideological position is built on a fallacy, and that fallacy is actually that's causing very real consequences for men as a class in this country. So I understand that you are here with us as kind of the good feminist, so to speak, that you feel empathy for men, and I believe you, but I do not believe your movement, and I do not believe your ideology.
All right, we'll leave it at that. That's a wrap, guys.
Good shit.
We made it through.
We did.
We did.
I think that was a pretty good one.
100%. It was that was deep. That was
Yeah.
deep. So what do you think? Like what did you overall take from the video?
I feel like the men ultimately got nowhere because the women weren't willing to listen. The men tried to listen. Even when we tried to listen, chime in, you got attacked.
No, I agree. I think the moral of the story is that men and women we're better together than we are apart.
Absolutely.
We need to promote more togetherness, and we need to promote more dialogue between the two.
That's true.
Let's strip the attitudes, go into it with a listening ear and being receptive to the other's position. Like, we've had decades and decades of hearing women's plights and listening to women's perspectives, but I truly believe when women start to listen to what men are saying, what men are asking for as a total, we can start to bridge this gap between us both and create more healthy relationships.
I agree with that. I think also respecting the differences and the dynamics that make us unique separately. Women are beautiful, and I don't just mean that physically. I mean like inside. There's stuff that women were naturally born with, like as far as like nourishment and just being kind, and that you can positively weaponize against a man, because if a woman is going to take you in her arms versus like slapping you down or throwing bad words at you, that man's going to fall positively though into her graces. You ain't this, you ain't that, you ain't that, stuff. If she was like, you know what, I respect you, I love you, I see that you're hurting, I'm here for you, that man gonna be speechless.
Even with actions, a lot of times you just gotta say it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
say you got a man that's going out there and he busting his ass.
Oh yeah.
You know, let's take a man like you or I.
Right.
You working 12 plus days. You out there. You trying to create a future for the next generation. We're not even thinking about ourselves.
Right.
We're thinking about our children
Our
and
legacy.
our children. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Our children's children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a man like that. You know, he come home. Don't argue with him. Rub his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing wrong with cooking your man a meal. We like promote this thing like where you a slave if you make your man a meal. It's crazy. But we not gonna dig too much.
I
into
said he
it.
did egg anime.
So that's enough for that. Tell us what you think. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your feedback. Did you agree, disagree? Did you have any perspectives that that you wanted to contribute to the conversation? Let us know what's in the comment. We're gonna be signing out. It's me and Alex, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Peace.